Listen, guys, so you are just like everyone else, which is why you are replaceable. Today, we're going to be talking about how to communicate your core offer so price never matters. And this is where most people get stuck, is because they're so worried on trying to be the cheapest, or they're so worried on how to actually just like make money. They don't even understand how to thrive because most people are in a position of survival, right? So the point of this video is going to be demonstrating why a core offer is a must and you have to understand it, right? Because there's one thing to have a surface level understanding where, like, okay, this is what we do. But once you can get to the position where you understand how to position it, not just tell people like, oh, this is what we do, but like actually position it in a way where it communicates high status, then you're going to be able to charge whatever you want, and people aren't going to give you pushback. People aren't going to tell you your price is too expensive, and if they do, then you can just recommunicate your value, and then that usually does a lot of the heavy lifting. So let me explain it to like this: a strong core offer is a strong business, and you don't need anything else because there are millions of businesses out there or contractors that don't have a website, don't have a social media, they don't have anything. They literally just show up, tell people, hey, I do this, and they make a lot of money. Why is that? It's because their core offer is so strong and it's such a necessity for a business that all they really got to do is just position it in a high status way, and they don't need marketing. Their marketing is their sales skills. Like they don't even have sales skills. They just tell people, hey, this is what I do. This is the results you can get, and that works. Like that works. But if you want to be able to charge to a point where you can charge any amount of money you really want because you're so unique, that's what this video is going to be about. We're not going to just talk about how to get something that works, but how to get something that works in a way where you're one of one, no one's challenging you on your price, and yeah, and you're a leader in the market. So the first thing we got to talk about is to develop the most valuable core offer from cold to client. They have to see the value, and once they see the value, they're a lot more willing to pay a lot more than if you were to sell before they received any value. So, a big part of your core offer is being able to deliver without getting paid, right? And you want to and I learned this from a really successful business. I forgot what it was, but um, I think it was like $1 billion industry. It was like $1 billion business where I don't know if it was in cologne or if it was in the food industry, but everyone was charging up front. And what this person did, and it was a girl, she was a female founder. Hopefully, I can remember it one day, and I'll bring it back up if you stick around watching my content. But she was a female founder, and essentially, instead of like doing what everyone else was doing, where everyone was just charging up front, she actually gave out samples. And samples at the time weren't commonly implemented. It wasn't like a known thing, but she was the first one to really give out samples and let people try it. And because people tried it, they saw the value, and then they were willing to pay a lot more for the product. And this is the way that now, and if you look at the service, service as a software, SaaS, the Salesforce or any of these like software companies, this is the model they all use now. They all let you try it before they ask you to pay them. This is really important because if you can deliver before getting them to pay you, you get to demonstrate the value of your product. And most businesses lose money not because they're giving out free product, but because people aren't even getting to try them out. So you have to come up with a way on how to deliver your services in advance without it costing you losing your business, right? So let me give you an example. So obviously, software services, you can do a 7-day free trial, right? And then only if you're actually willing to pay for it, you keep it. And because you saw the value in advance, no matter what price tag they offer you, that they ask you for, you're probably gonna pay because you see the value. That's the whole point of giving value in advance. Like with me, I do it with content, right? Like you see me giving you value. I didn't ask you for $1, right? Not yet. But you see me giving you value. You see how you see the proof, right? You see the value in it, and then that's why you're willing to pay something for something more in depth later down the line. And if you look at food companies, right, like they all do this, right? They all do this, and yeah. So the biggest one of my favorite ways of you see people doing it is is like look at when you go to the mall, right? You see those those the Japanese spot, right, that sells Chinese food or Japanese food. They're willing to let you try a chicken before they sell you a plate, right? So that's just a really good example, and this works all the time, like especially on me. Like I'm a perfect example of someone you have to deliver for before I will ever pay you, because most of the time, like I have to already have some type of certainty that this is gonna work for me and this is gonna be good, because unless you came through like a referral where like I know that this person already got a result, probably I will never pay you, just because if it didn't come through that type of form, or it was highly recommended to me through someone I trust, then you're gonna have to demonstrate for me before I ever pay you. And people who have a lot of risk on their, or a lot of responsibility on their hands, they're going to want something like that even if they don't know they want it. So that's why marketing is so important, because you have to be willing to do that for someone before you ask them to pay you an absurd amount of money that may be a risk to them, right? So hopefully that's really clear. And that's something that most people mess up, right? They try to get people to pay them before they deliver any value, which you can see the irony in that, right? Where it's people want you to give them everything, right? In terms of, let's say if I'm trying to sell you something, like people, someone like in my position would want you to pay them thousands of dollars without giving you a real reason besides, like, promises and stuff like that. So anytime you can deliver in advance, that is the way to stand out from everyone else. And most people are going to tell you, like, sell your services, get paid up front. But in a world where everyone's doing the same thing, you have to be different. And that's the principle of marketing, is zigging when they zag. And I think that advice of charging for your services makes a lot of sense, right? Never give out anything for free if it's not deserved. And if you're going to a client and you don't deserve their money, in the sense of, like, if it came through a referral, right? And they're coming to you asking you for your service, that's different. You can charge up front, right? You've earned that right because they're coming to you. But if you're going to a client and you're asking them to pay up front, probably doesn't make as much sense. So in order to acquire new clients, you have to be willing to give something in advance, so that way they can try it and then they can be willing to pay you. Mind you, if you're going to them, right? Kind of like the chicken lady, right? If she would come up to me, she's like, "Hey, buy a plate of chicken," I'm like, I'll look at the other options first, right? Let me come back to you. Let me think about it, right? But now she's like, "Hey, try this chicken." She gave me something in advance. I'm like, "Wow, that's really good." Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna go look at the other ones. I'm just gonna go with you guys because I like the chicken. So really understand that, because there's two types of context. There's inbound and there's outbound. And if it's inbound, it's a lot different. You can charge up front. They're coming to you. But if it's outbound, you always want to deliver something in advance. So the second thing we're going to be talking about is your business is remembered off your core offer. Like, your core offer is your business. So if you don't know how to make that unique, you are going to be glanced at and never looked at again. It's kind of like, I love using this example because this is the position I'm in. So I'm currently in Buenos Aires, right? Itis. And, there's a million coffee shops. And I love Argentina just because of how many businesses there are. It's very like New York. If you've ever been to New York, you know there's a business on every corner. And it always just is a good reminder. It's like, how I always ask myself these theoretical questions because it allows me to really challenge my thinking. But like, if I were to have a coffee shop, how would I be able to stand out? How would I be able to put myself as a market leader compared to being just like everyone else? And in in a city like Buenos Aires or New York, there's a million coffee shops. Even if you tried, you couldn't even get to all the coffee shops. So how are you gonna get people to pay you when you're competing against Starbucks? You're competing against Dunkin' Donuts, and you have all this competition, right? So do you think those cafes? Do you think cafe number 253 that I walked by? Do you think I remember even the name of it? All right, let alone what they actually like serve, right? Who knows if they serve bread? Who knows if they serve sandwiches? Who knows if they serve pasta? I don't even know, because they are just like everyone else. They have a little logo at the front. They have a cute little cafe. And the thing about that is everyone has that. So like, why how are you different? You aren't, right? So you have to come up with ways on how to be different, how to stand out. And that is when you're going to put yourself in a position to be remembered, because your core offer is your business. And if your business and your core offer isn't memorable, then you are going to get replaced for the cheaper option, or you're going to get replaced for the more memorable or more valuable option. So I love that example of the cafes because it's just very true. It's like, you don't remember that cafe. Even if you try to remember, you won't. So don't even try. I know I'm joking, but like, And it's a misconception of like everybody wants to do what everyone else is doing. Everyone wants to follow the proven system. Everyone wants to follow what works, right? Which is paradoxical because it's like you think because you're following the proven system, that's what's gonna lead you to success. And it is true in the sense of it will get you to a certain level of success, but it will never allow you to have a competitive advantage. And the businesses that survive, but most importantly thrive, have competitive advantages. And if you ever look at the people who, if you ever are in a leaderboard for any position for any reason, and you look at the people who are at the top, they're doing something differently than everyone else is doing. And a lot of it comes down to their ability to independently think and create ways where they can stand out. And I learned this from one of my mentors, and it was one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned. It's you should always be developing a competitive advantage, even if it's not playing fair. Doesn't matter. It's a competitive advantage. So you should always be asking yourself, how can I position myself to be different from everyone else in a way that's going to give me results that no one else is getting? Like that type of question is going to create an answer for you that's going to allow you to get outside of the box answers, and because you're going to doing outside of the box things, you're going to be getting out of the box results. It's like the quote. It's like to be extraordinary, you got to do that the ordinary things extra, right? It's like, and a lot of the times the ordinary things, it's definitely about doing the fundamentals, but a lot of it, one of the ordinary things is being able to think outside the box, and that isn't done enough, right? People aren't doing that part extra, right? People are following and copying what everyone else does, but no one is trying to think of how can we uniquely position ourselves. Because if you were to just to do that extra, right, extraordinary, then you would have an extraordinary result. So definitely think about that, because that is what's going to allow you to be different, and it's going to make you unique. And when you're unique, you're memorable, and when you're memorable, people ascribe value to that, because a lot of the times it's not the best products that have the biggest businesses, it's the ones that have the best marketing and the ones who are the most memorable. If I were to tell you name the best soda, 3, 2, 1, you probably said Pepsi or Coca Cola. But are they the only companies that exist? Obviously not. Are they technically the best on paper in terms of like the global consensus of like, is this the best tasting cola? I promise you there is another cola out there that exists that is better than Pepsi and Coca Cola. But because they're the most popular, that is the one that you guessed, I'm assuming. So, and if you didn't, then you're special. But 99% of people probably said Pepsi or Coca Cola. So, hopefully that explains it. And then the third thing is like businesses make most of their money from their core offer. So, a core offer is not a loss leader, right? It's not something you give. It's not an entry level offer, right? Where you giving to the market at a very cheap cost or even free. This is not that, right? A core offer is your moneymaker. It's the thing that you want everyone to sign up to, because if everyone sign up to, then you make profit on that offer, or that part of your services. Like you make money there, and that is going to allow you to transition those people into even a higher level of an offer, which that's where you like 10 extra money, right? Because you got them into the core thing, which you made money on them. Now there's something above that. Let's say your core offer is anywhere from 5 to 10 to 20,000, right? Let's say that's your core offer. That's the thing you mainly sell. And then you have like another one that's like 100 or 500,000 or a million. And then like very few people are going to take you up on those, but those are the ones that are going to make you like an incredible amount of money, because you have your buyers and then you have your super buyers, right? The people who are your you have your fans and then you have your hyper fans, right? You have super cars and then you have hyper cars. Like hyper cars are for a smaller demographic of people that are willing to invest that amount of money into something like you deliver that they see the value in. So businesses make most of their money on the core offer. That's very important to understand, because if you can do that, then you're just gonna focus on that. There's a business that did a couple billion. I think it was Privy or Divvy or something like that, and they didn't have anything else besides their core offer. Like they were software services that gave away the software for free, but they charged people on credit card services. So every time like you credit card fees. So every time that you like let's say Visa, they have like credit cards like a Macy's card or whatever. Their whole goal was to give away their software for free, but get people to sign up for the credit card because they were making money on the fees, and that was their offer. They didn't offer anything else. They gave away the software for free. That was the market leader. That was the loss leader, right? That's how they got people in. But their core offer was just get people to use their cards for fees, and they just did that, and they became a $1 billion company. So hopefully that's a really good example, because your core offer is like the thing that you're gonna push the hardest. Okay, because yeah, you may use a market or a loss leader to get their attention or to get their trust, But the loss leader and the core offer is what you're always leading them towards. Like that's the path, you know. So that is where you're gonna make your money. And again, you're at the mall, you see a Japanese spot, they give you a free piece of chicken. They don't make money on giving you free chicken. Like I don't know if that's groundbreaking, but they don't. But they do make money on the $12 to $20 plate. So don't you think they're gonna try to give you something for free so they can get you to that? Of course, that's why they do it. So second thing is an advisor or an accountant, right? They give you a breakdown of your business or an audit, or someone like me, I'd give you a breakdown or an audit for really cheap or for free, and then you get sold on the recurring services because that's where, I mean, personally, I don't believe in recurring services. I believe in, making you so much money that I get a percentage of it, because that's how I would be able to make more money compared to like an accountant. They just charge you a set fee every month because for them that's how they're able to get predictable income. And an accountant isn't going to make you $1 million, but they might save you a couple 100,000, or but someone like me, I do marketing and I do sales and I do everything business. So my potential to make you money is infinite. So I rather charge you a percentage than charge you a set fee, because I would make less money if I were to charge you a set fee, and I wouldn't be incentivized for you to grow. So my goal is to be able to position you in a way where I can make you infinite amounts of money and take a percentage of that, so that way I can make more money. But the only way I'm going to be able to make more money is if you make more money. So it's a win-win. That's why I love that type of um, deal. And if you can also think of it of like a dentist, right? They'll give you a free cleaning or give you a really cheap cleaning because they have more dental work that they can serve you with if you need it, obviously. And hopefully they're not giving you dental work if you don't need it, like pulling out teeth for no reason. But you know what I mean. So they're able to sell you whitening. Everyone can use whitening. They can sell you braces if your teeth are throwing gang signs and they're crooked, or they can give you like the Invisalign, right? Or they can give you whatever they have. I'm not a dentist, I wouldn't know, but yeah. And like you probably got a free cleaning, and then they were like, "Hey, you have a cavity. Like it's gonna cost you blah blah blah, or your insurance is gonna cost you blah blah blah, and insurance is willing to pay this much. You just got to pay the rest." You probably were like, "Okay, let me look at it." You looked into it. You're like, "Okay, if I don't, then my teeth are gonna start falling out, and then everyone's gonna look at me crazy. So let me get this filling or whatever, and now your teeth don't look that bad." So hopefully that made sense. But just remember that your core offer is your business, and understanding these three things is what's going to allow you to create a strong business, and it's going to position you in a way where not you're not you're not forgettable, because when you're forgettable, that's the worst place to be, because you're just like every other spot. And when you're like every other spot, people are just going to price shop, or they're gonna look around, and you want to get to the point where they're looking around, and then they just have you. They're like everyone else that they're looking at is in comparison to you, because that's how you know you're doing something right and you're a leader in the market, because they're trying to compare, like, okay, how can I get as close as to this person but maybe not have to pay as much. That's what they're looking for. And then once they reach the consensus that they can't, like, you're the only one who offers it, they're just gonna bite the bullet and they're gonna be like, all right, I'll pay it. I'll pay the price. So and then that's for the people who even care about price. There's some people that don't even care about price, that they just want the best value for their dollar. They're just gonna be like, "Yep, I want to work with you," because they like you. You gave them something for free. You gave them an entry level offer. You built their trust. Now, no matter what you sell them, they believe in you. They trust you. They know that you have their best intentions. They know that if they work with you, you're going to position them to win at the highest level in the future. They're just going to go with you because you already built that trust. So, and that's kind of what this concept that we're talking about, the awareness, trust, and nurture cycle, that we get into, that I definitely didn't invent, but it's the marketing, framework that it's my opinion, it's the simplest and it's the best to understand, which is why I'm explaining it to you. Like, our goal is to get awareness, right? And that's what we do with the messaging. This is what this video is about, explaining your core offer, so you can give your potential client or your customer awareness of who you are, why you're different. Then we're going to get into trust. How can you build their trust, if it's on a phone call or if it's through your marketing, to the point where they're like, I have to work with this person, and this is the only person that can deliver at this level. And when you get awareness, when you can get trust, and you can get the nurturing aspect of it, you position your business in a way where people are gonna feel like they just need your services, and they're willing to throw money at you, and That's a very empowering position to be when you're able to turn down money because maybe you have too many customers, you have too many clients, and the business is doing well and it doesn't need clients because that's a really bad position to be where you're desperate. So follow this stuff and you're never going to get to that position. So hopefully that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.